topics and opinions expressed in the following show are solely those of the host and their guests and not those of W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4CY Radio or its employees or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4CY Radio.
Welcome to the Ask the Expert show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV, where we bring you educational information from top local experts in the fields of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. Now sit back and listen to experts in family law, association law, hearing loss, business brokers, home care, along with many other topics. Now here are your hosts, Steve-O and Sophia.
Hey, good morning, Florida. Welcome to another Ask the Expert show where we bring you the top experts in the field of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. Hey, I hope everybody had a happy Easter. Our prayers and blessings go out to the families of the Pope who just passed away. We are so sorry to hear about that. And I want to thank everybody. We got so many emails wishing us a happy Easter from our listeners. In fact, most of them, I cannot believe we do shows all over the United States. Most of them were all from the Florida area. And I just wanted to just personally thank everybody for those. And 4 of them thanked us for the show that we're getting ready to do right now. Our expert who's been with us for 3 years, thanking us for bringing a show like this. And actually, one gentleman said, I listened to shows across the country and different financial shows. And the one we do with Provise is his favorite. So we thank you for that. And let's welcome our great long-standing expert, Ray Ferrara. Good morning, Ray.
Good morning, Steve, and let me add my belated happy Easter to you as well. And yes, it quite sudden, the passing of the Pope. Read in the paper that Vice President Vance had just visited with him the weekend, and that he had gone out in the Pope Mobile and was with the crowds with their blessings on Easter Sunday, and then. You just never know when the good Lord's going to take you.
Absolutely. I thought that this morning when I woke up. But, well, I got to tell you, Ray, you've got a lot of fans out there. I was just mentioning that we got so many people wishing us a happy Easter, and a lot of them were from the Florida area. And one of them thanked us. We had 3 or 4 thanked us for your show, but one of them said that he listens to shows like this all over the country. He's a big podcaster, loves listening to financial shows, and he said yours is his favorite. So I love that. That's what we want to do, right?
That's indeed, and it's very kind of him to single us out. So it's greatly appreciated.
Ray, I think people appreciate they hear you talk about different areas of money management, and I think they really enjoy your views, your education. Tell people about Provise and how you started the Provise Management Group.
So
did you hear that? Did you get that right?
Stephen, Provise is a financial planning and investment management firm with offices
Sorry to interrupt. Ray, you're lagging quite a bit. We're not understanding what you're saying. Eva, you might want to take back over until we can get Ray back.
I'm sorry, Rebel.
Sorry, my voice was going for a second there. Ray's internet is not cooperating very well. He is
Oh.
frozen. So you might want to take back over until we can get Ray back.
Yes, I just wanted to write Ray. Hey, you know this happens sometimes when you have a live show, and you know what, Rebel, I got to tell you that um, you know we have a background that we can use, which is really cool. But I stopped using mine because it seems like the quality wasn't as good when we use that background that they supply us with.
It,
Ray's going to be coming right back with us. We had some freezing problems. But you know what, folks? I got to tell you, when you do a live show, I mean, I see this on all the big networks that they freeze up. So it's not like this is something that just happens with us. This happens all over the country. And I really think whenever I see Rebel, whenever I see people using the background, I seem to have problems. Here it looks like he's coming back in.
Hey, Ray, you back with us? It may
Ray,
be
are
the
you there?
background dragging it out. But... Ray, can you hear us?
Yes, I'm here. Yes, I can.
Okay.
Can you hear
I was
me?
just telling Rebels, sometimes those backgrounds that they
Good.
give us, we have problems with them, so I've stopped using them. I don't know why it freezes up like that. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you fine, Stephen, and my apologies.
Okay. No problem.
I will figure out how to get rid. I will try to figure out how to get rid of. I'll figure out how to try to get rid of those backgrounds and see if that help. If that has any.
I used to use those, Ray, and okay. So I was just we're just starting to tell people about Provise.
Right. So Provise is a financial planning and investment management firm with offices in Clearwater and in Tampa, Florida. We look at ourselves as a financial planning firm first and foremost, because we believe everything else is a subset of the financial plan, whether it's investment management, retirement planning, estate planning, education planning, budgeting, asset protection. You run down the entire list. And we believe all of those are subsets of the plan. And once we understand the plan, then we have a better chance of investing the money and executing on the plan. We always offer our prospective clients a 1-hour complimentary consultation in either our Clearwater or Tampa office, or for those that are outside of the Tampa Bay area. Of course, we've all learned how to use Zoom over the last 5 years. So we are doing an increasing number of those initial interviews by Zoom at the request of prospective clients. So if you would like to take advantage of a complimentary consultation, give us a call at 727-441-9022. That's 727-441-9022. There it is, scrolling across the bottom of the page.
Exactly. Hey, you know, it's really nice. Your show was about a week before tax day, and now it's a week after tax day, which is never a good day. The House and Senate, they just passed this preliminary bills for this new tax law. When do you expect this to be completed, and what will it contain?
Wow. What a powerful question, to which there's a great big question mark. I would point out
Take as long as you need.
I would point out that those of us here in Florida, because of the hurricanes, we actually have to celebrate tax day twice, April 15th and then the 1st of May, which is when everything is actually due. The House has set up a preliminary bill, if you will, or schedule, I guess is the best way to describe it. The president was anxious to get this signature legislation done within the first 100 days. We said that was not going to happen, and clearly it hasn't happened and won't happen. And now the new date that they've set is Memorial Day, which is some 5 weeks away. We think that's overly ambitious. I'm looking at it being at least late June or early July, that at the earliest they can get a completed bill through both the House and the Senate and to the president's desk. And I wouldn't be a bit surprised if they're still arguing about it come Labor Day.
Yes.
Lots to consider. There are proposals all over the place. We're not going to tax tips. We're not going to tax Social Security. We're not going to tax this. There's now even a proposal to perhaps raise the top tax rate by a couple percent, which was a little surprising to see. Our best guess is that most of the tax bill from 2017 will be renewed. There'll be some changes that will occur to it, but until it's all settled down, it's hard to plan for tax day 2025. 2026, and is going to leave a lot of things up in the air and last minute planning for the year. The big one that we get all the time, Stephen, is what about estate taxes? Estate taxes, for all the publicity that it gets, really doesn't raise that much money, but the perception is that it does. And in a given year, the estate tax probably raises $400 billion or so. Which is not an insignificant amount of money, but it pales in comparison to income taxes. We think that the tax will not be eliminated. We think that it will continue the way it is and continue to increase the amount that a family can pass on at death each year, which right now, between a husband and a wife, they can pass up to $25 million without paying any estate taxes. Don't hold your breath, because it's going to be a long time before the tax bill gets implemented. And as soon as it is implemented, Provise will be putting out a special report that we'll make available to our listeners to explain the new tax and to give some strategies that can be used to minimize those impacts on your personal situation.
Bill in Lutz wants to know, we keep hearing about no tax on tips, on Social Security, and other areas. Do you feel like, and I respect your word, do you feel like this will occur?
If it does, I'm going to change my salary and call them tips. Along with lots of other people. As far as the tip angle is concerned, what I think we might, first of all, let's be practical and let's just admit that there's a lot of tip income that isn't taxed now anyway, that people just don't report it. So we can start from there. But I would suspect that there is a possibility of tips not being taxed for people who have a certain income level and below, that there would be no tax on them, on the tips. I think that's a possibility. But to say that all tips will not be taxed, it doesn't make sense. As far as Social Security is concerned, it's going to be very difficult to not tax Social Security the way it is now, because the money that is actually raised from the taxation of the Social Security income that retirees have actually goes back into the Social Security Trust Fund to continue to help fund it. It doesn't go into the general fund. Most people don't understand that. And as we all know, Social Security is supposed to run out of money in 2034, I think it is right now.
Yes.
And so if we don't tax Social Security the way we have been, then I think we'll exacerbate that problem. And that's why I don't think it'll happen. What could happen is that the level of incomes at which 50% of your Social Security is taxed and then 85% is taxed has been the same since both of those provisions were put in place, which is over 25 years ago, maybe even 30 at this point. So I think there is a possibility that they may index that for inflation on a go-forward basis, but I don't see them eliminating taxes on Social Security. Too many negative impacts as a result of that. Darn it, for those of us that are on Social Security, it would be nice to have some tax-free income, but just not going to happen.
Okay. Ray, what are the key things that could lead to us into a recession this year?
Uncertainty is clearly the biggest issue. But I laugh when everybody says it's the uncertainty. I was talking with a money manager last week, Steve, and he kept referring to uncertainty. And I asked him, I said, when's the last time you were absolutely certain anything was going to happen?
Yeah, really.
So I mean, we've lived with uncertainty in the investment world every day. It rises and it falls more. We can have more uncertainty or less uncertainty, but it's always there. What are the things we really pay close attention to? So in a recession, it usually starts with an economic slowdown of job hires. So our number one thing that we look at is, what are the employment numbers? What are the number of jobs that are being created? What is the number of jobs or people who are unemployed? And that has been rising over the last couple of months from the low to mid 3% to right at 4%, but not a big difference yet. But if that number were to get to 4.5%, maybe even 5%, that would be very disconcerting. The second thing that we have to look at is, are consumers continuing to spend? And are they doing it with their savings, or are they doing it with the money they're earning, i.e., are they putting it on debt? And right now, the consumer continues to be pretty robust. It's kind of shocked everybody, but that's the second thing that we look at the closest. And then the third thing I would say is the number of housing starts. We have a housing shortage in this country of actual homes. And when we see the home builders starting to cut back on the building of homes, that is a clear sign that things are slowing down. So three things that, amongst all of the data that you could confuse yourself with, Steve, is to pay attention to the employment numbers, new jobs being created, look at the unemployment rate, and then look at housing starts. And if any of, and consumers spending. So if any of those numbers start to weaken, that would be a sign that we may be stepping towards a slowdown and potentially even a recession. But we're not there now. There's a good possibility that, I believe it's later this week, that the gross domestic product numbers, GDP, will be out for the first quarter. It's expected to be down 0.5%. and don't be surprised if it's up just a little bit. You heard it here first.
Yes. Greg in St. Pete, I'm really enjoying your show. I have so much respect for you after listening to your last shows this year. I know you normally don't answer questions like this, but I am freaking out. I own stock in Tesla. Is it ever going to stop going down?
Well, first, let's admit that on a pure economic basis, Tesla was an overpriced stock back
Right.
in December when it was selling for $439 a share. I think was the all-time high. And it's now about half that amount. So I'm going to say to you that half of the retreat is due to the fact that it was overpriced. And the other half of the retreat is due to the pushback of people angry with Musk spending time with the president and Doge, as opposed to spending time on the business. I've been a longtime believer in Elon Musk and his ability to do things that others have not done or done nearly as well. And I think he'll survive this one as well. And I think it'll be a while before Tesla gets back 250 points. But I do think that it's a stock to consider in your portfolio at these levels. But it all depends on your risk tolerance level. I'm not recommending the stock. I'm not telling you to buy the stock, but it's one to consider looking at as you're looking to deploy cash if you have it today.
Sue in Orlando, with all the people being cut from federal government jobs, won't this raise the unemployment rate, slow down consumer spending, and therefore maybe cause a recession?
Sue, you're very much on point. A lot has been talked about how various departments are reorganizing, some being eliminated. There are court cases galore that are going on about the ability to cut all of the people. But the short answer is yes, it is something to be very concerned about. One of the things that can often happen is when the government starts doing something, businesses have a tendency to follow, and that's something we're very concerned about. That it's one thing with the government cutting some of the fat out. None of us like fat in finances, and reorganizing, et cetera, makes a lot of sense in some places. But you don't want to cut to the bone. But if corporations say, well, excuse me, maybe we should have our own Doge and totally reorganize again, and they start cutting a lot of jobs, that's where I'll gain some real concern. But jobs, as I just talked about before to the previous question, our jobs are the one thing that will keep us from going into a recession or be an indicator that we might be going into one. So yes, I'm right there with you, Sue. I'm concerned that it spills over into the corporate world and lots of jobs start getting cut.
Ray, the only problem with your show is it's never long enough. It's amazing how fast. Well, we actually get people to say, how come your show's not longer? But Ray, thank you so much. I'm sorry about the technical problems today. Ray will be back again with us in 2 weeks. He's on with us twice a month, but you can go to iHeart or Spotify and pull up any of his shows under Ask the Experts, Florida Provise Management. And Ray, thank you so much. And I'm glad you had a wonderful Easter, and we'll see you in a couple weeks.
Look forward to it, Stephen. Thank you.
Thank you, Ray. We're going to go to a short break, and we'll be right back with our next expert.
Thanks for tuning in today to the Ask the Expert show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV. Tune in next week and every week to hear more from our experts on personal injury, insurance, air condition repairs, estate planning, Medicare, and many other topics in the areas of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. See you next week.